Hello, this is Cece Schatz, and welcome to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. And those of you that don't know me, I am the doyenne of relationship building. And so what I really do is take you through probably one of the worst times in your life, through some sort of relationship loss, and we walk through that journey to living your best life. And those around us help us tremendously, and that's what our show is going to be about tonight. But before we start, I want to do a couple things. One is I'd like to introduce Tommy. Tommy, and many people have asked me, what is in that plastic thing behind you? See the plastic thing that's behind me over here? And this thing, it's my turtle named Tommy, and I've had him for a long time, and from what I understand, he's probably going to outlive me, but he likes being here. He likes the all the chatter that we have here in the back where we're recording, and so he's my kind of go-to person, I guess. So Tommy the turtle is in the little plastic bend here behind me. And so I just wanted to let you guys know that, because many people have said, what is in that plastic thing behind you? And he pretty much is always wherever I am. So he's in the most lively area in our home here. So the other thing is, before we start the show, I want to thank you guys for listening to Going Solo Veterans. It warms my heart to think that that particular show is really like we were at the very beginning here on Going Solo Network. We started out with just a handful of people that supported us, and we moved into this huge singles network, and I'm just very excited about that. And so as we're traveling through it, through our lives, and we're touching on other people's lives, that's what our show is going to be about tonight. It's going to be really about connecting with others, creating a shift in your life path. And before we start that, and Solomon, I see that you're on, so thank you so much. He's in Bangladesh, and he's such a great supporter of our station, and I'd love to maybe get him to come on and give a couple. He's a motivational speaker, and wouldn't it be great to have him come on and do a couple special shows for us? I would love for him to do that. So I'll do a shout out to you, Solomon, and I hope that maybe we can get you to come on and be with us a little bit here on the station to pump us up. We've got a lot of great hosts that are here on us. And so those of you that don't know, we do these live shows, but we also have WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, which is a live streaming radio station. It's on the internet. It streams 24/7. All the shows that you're listening now are dropped into a podcast form and placed on that. And then they're listened to throughout, all the time, throughout the day or whatever. And then we also have a live streaming TV station, whereas when we play the shows, once they go through our affiliates, they go on to our YouTube station, which is then connected to our TV station, and that is also played 24/7. All of our videos, which are on our website. So if you ever are up in the middle of the night and you can't sleep and you want something to listen to, you can go there. We have them broken down into dating or divorce or inspiration or whatever it is that you're looking for. There's usually a show there for you, and it's live streaming. If you don't want to listen to that particular show, go to our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel has everything on there, and that's where the go-to channel is. So I hope that you will do that, because we have some wonderful hosts that continuously give us great shows that help us move through, like Amy Sherman, Rosalind Sadaka. They're constantly giving us wonderful shows about divorce. We have some terrific inspirational shows, so definitely check that out. So it's our WGSN-DB Going Solo Network YouTube channel. So that's what it is. So now, as we're going to start this this show tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about connecting. But before we do that, I wanted to share with you an article that I have come across. And I like to showcase these articles because these wonderful people do these blogs and different articles because they're there to help you. And they want to make a name for themselves, but they really do want to get some words out that will be of inspiration to you, that will kind of move you through to whatever you're going through. And so I came across this article, and it really struck me because it said, "Removing the Shame of Being Single" by Calvin Noel. and removing the shame of being single. And I thought about that. And I thought, you know what? I know that when I went through my divorce, like many people, I was ashamed that I couldn't make my relationship work. And I kept putting it on myself. You know, how come I couldn't get it to work? I couldn't make it to work. You know, what kind of person am I? And I was very shameful with the fact that I'm single. Today, I relish in the fact that I'm single because what I'm doing is actually focusing on myself. I'm focusing on the growth of me to raise my vibration to when I'm ready, when it's time for me, that person will come into my life that's supposed to be in my life. So we'll talk about that as we go. But I wanted to share some of these things with you because I thought, you know, they're so valuable. This is such valuable information. Then we're going to move into the connecting. So we've got a lot to cover here in this short period of time. But the first thing this gentleman said, and I so truly believe it, is rediscover yourself. So often you've heard me say throughout many shows is that, you know, when I'll go back to myself because I think that relatability is very, very important to us. And so when I, and like many of you, are making that transition into relationship loss, we are alone. And then we realize that we have to start understanding who we are and where we're going. And this article was really great with the validation of loving yourself. And I thought to myself, loving yourself, I know that I hated myself when I was going through my divorce. I hated who I was. I hated everything about me because I was told how horrible I was. Throughout many, many years of my life, I was told that I wasn't good at this. I wasn't good at that. I wasn't. So how on earth am I going to be good at anything? And so I stepped into this new life of being single, hating who I was, thinking, how could I ever make it, you know, by myself? How could I ever, anybody ever approach me or want to be with me? Because what kind of, you know, low life am I, right? You know, that's what I was thinking. So wrong. So absolutely wrong I was. And the reason being is because I was listening to this negative voice that was putting me down to make themselves higher. You know, have you ever met people like that put you down? They want you to be lower than them because that's the only way they can raise themselves. Those are not the kind of people we want to be with. And number one, when we are with those kind of people, we need to rise above and we need to know that we are far better than they ever could be, simply for the fact that they had to put us down to get to the level that they want to be at. So they have to take a step over us to be able to get to where they're at. That is so wrong. So as we're rediscovering ourselves, we start to understand more things about us. We start to love ourselves. And that was one of the next things that he talked about. But I really like the idea of being able to rediscover yourself, because through that relationship loss, there's a point in there where you really start understanding yourself. You start validating yourself. You start realizing who you are. You know, when you get down to the surface of relationship loss, you begin to understand that, you know, times are tough for you. And those times is when you're going to really start connecting with yourself. And so I love the idea of, you know, it's not an instant, simple thing. It's a process of trying to put, and I'll read this, what he said, because I thought it was really good, about putting work into your own relationship, really into who you are. It's allowing yourself to be whole, loved, stable, happy, and the best version of who you are at this very moment. So wherever you are at this very moment, you know, be whole, loved, stable, happy, and the best version of you. If you could just simply be the best version of you at that very, very moment, can you imagine every moment that will transpire from that? You'll continuously to grow. It'll be like a snowball, right? In the snowball effect, you know, as it's tumbling down the hill, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. You will be the same thing. You will be just this most awesome person as you continue to grow. And number one thing you have to do is you have to start loving yourself. So all this negative stuff that was put into me over years and years, I had to start opening that up. I had to start blossoming myself. And I had to start understanding that if I didn't love myself, who was going to love me? You know, so I had to start looking in the mirror and being true with myself, not only just about the way I look, but also about the core of the person that I am. So I had to bring it down deep to really start understanding what is important to me and what what can I take away from it? What are the values that are important to me? When someone talks negative to you, that you just cannot build yourself up again. You just cannot live on that. And so the whole thing is every time I would go in that little voice in my head again and talk and think about some of those negative things to myself, then I would start understanding, what, that isn't true. Those aren't true things about me. And so then I would start realizing, well, wait a minute, I start untangling those things and untangling the insecurities and the doubts and the moments that were so far drenched within me. And so I started to better understand myself, understanding the core of who I am, how loyal I am. I stayed in a relationship far too long, far too long. And the reason being is because I not staying in the relationship out of security for myself, but staying in the relationship because I wanted to try to make it work, because I am the can-do kind of person. I'm the one that's going to dig in the trenches, and I'm going to keep working hard until I make it work. But I'm not the only factor in it, right? And so when I'm in my single mode, right now I'm being single, when I'm in my single environment, I can keep working on myself. I can keep evaluating my values, evaluating certain things about me. And so what I started to do, I slowly started to, pluck away some of those negative things that were within me. And I started to blossom like a flower, basically, and starting to understand that, who I am is really, pretty gifted. I'm very secure in knowing who I am. As I've stepped forward in my life. And I just think that we all can do that. We all can be there. So no matter where you're at in your relationship loss, or, it doesn't have to be divorce. It could be a death. It could be something a separation of some sort. But wherever you're at in it, you have to look at the core of who you are and start putting that groundwork together and start building up, taking those threads of things that are very, very good and start, counting on those and looking at those kind of things. And so it's not just about it's not looking in the mirror, but it's looking at the inward of the individual that you are. The other thing is, I thought this was really interesting, was staying vulnerable, staying where you could possibly be hurt again. And the thing is when you step out into another relationship, a lot of people don't want to do that because they don't want to get hurt again, right? But the fact is if you are, let's say you're really sad about your relationship loss, what's real about that is that you could really love. And wouldn't it be better to have love and loss than to never have loved before, love in the first place? Isn't that saying true? I mean, I think that I would rather, and I hate to say this, but I would rather hurt from a love loss than to be afraid to step into a love. Can you imagine? There's many out there that are in the world of dating now, but they won't step in. They won't step into who they are. They won't step into the path of a relationship. They claim, many of them say, oh, well, just like me, who I am, don't change me. Don't do this. Don't do that. Well, the reality is they're putting up all these walls around them, right? They're putting up these walls of failure. And so if you can be open enough, if you can have your heart open enough, if you can have your laughter open enough, if you can have your personality allow yourself to shine through, if you could be present to who you are, and not say to yourself, well, I'm not going to change for this relationship or that relationship. But what you can say is, I'm going to be aware of what's happening around me. And I'm going to let my physical and my emotional pain show. I'm going to allow others to see me for who I am and to understand that I might be going through a difficult time, but I'm going to get through it. And I'm going to do it with a clear head and a clear mind and, a clear heart. I mean, I'm going to do those things to be able to move forward. And I'm sorry if I don't see you, if you come in on the site here, I'm just, want to read this article as I'm going through it. But I like that idea of being able to start understanding that. One thing they said about it is being a warrior. And my good friend Trisha, she's always talking about, her whole thing is about being a warrior. And, we do have the Going Solo Warriors, or a warrior going solo or something like that. And so we do have that phase about us, right? Because we are in the trenches of being able to become who we want to be. And so can you imagine being able to be who you want to be? I love that idea. Live like someone left the gate open. Can you imagine living like someone left the gate open? Someone says to you, okay, I am going to be able to move through my life and live it as I want to live it. I'm going to allow myself to breathe and be who I want to be, to allow myself to live how I want to live. And I'm not talking about, I'm talking about more emotional, if anything else, but and do it all in a kind, calm, respectful way, to be able to understand yourself and what you want. Allow your energy to rise above and create this open gate for yourself to experience things that you've never felt before. And it's allowing yourself not to think about fear, but to step aside any blocks that you might very well have in your life. And then the other thing was keep joy around you. We've talked about this. I've done several shows on joy, finding your joy. Joy is so vital to being able to move forward in a very positive way. It's vital for you to live your life. You'll live longer if you have joy in your life. People will want to be with you if you have joy in your life. You create this energy about you, this way about you, that people want to come to you and they want to draw with you, and they want to become, your friend, and because they love the joy around you. They love that you love yourself. And it's amazing. It's an amazing thing to do. So we talked about joy before, about finding your joy, what joy is. So look up some of the other shows that we have and we'll talk about that. But I didn't want to get too into that. But I thought that was I just thought this, you come across this article, you definitely should read it. It's Removing the Shame of Being Single. You can Google it. It's up there. I thought it was really a very good article. But let's move into, and I've got 10 things that you must do when you're single. These are 10 things you must do when you're single, and this is by Kyle Robbins, and I thought this was kind of interesting. I like this where he said, stay single for 3 months. Can you imagine? Many people, as they're moving through a relationship loss, boop, boop, they want to get right back into another relationship. Why? Because they can't stand themselves, right? They don't know who they are, so they want to connect with someone else. I agree with this. I think staying single for 3 months, I think maybe even longer. I don't feel, and this is just my opinion, I don't feel that there's any, magic potion or magic scenario or time limit that you have to give yourself. Oh, if you were married for so many years, you got to wait so many years. I think when you're ready and know you're ready, right? When you know you're ready to move forward. I know that I moved forward probably far too early. I moved forward because I thought, well, damn it, if he's moving forward, I ought to be moving forward, right? Isn't that what I'm supposed to be doing? I'm divorced. I need to be moving forward. Big mistake. What I found is that, I think I hurt guys, some really great guys along the way, because I wasn't really ready for it. As soon as they started getting serious about me, bing, bang, I was like out of there, because I wasn't really ready to be, even though I said I wanted this long-term relationship. I was so scared of long-term relationship that I just it made my head spin. How could I be in another long-term relationship? I mean, I couldn't imagine it. But I did want to be with someone. So I felt the need of connecting. And that's why I wanted to talk to you guys tonight about that need, that just we got that desire that we feel so lonely that we want to connect with someone. And so we need to tell you to stay single for at least 3 months. I think maybe a little bit longer. I think you have to stay single until you start feeling comfortable with yourself, until you start getting more centered in the core of who you are and what's important to you. The other thing is, the more centered you are, the more you are able to set the boundaries that you need to set in relationships. And I think that we have to set boundaries for ourselves. So this is something I never did. I never set hey, wait a minute, that's not the way you treat me, or this is not how you talk to me. I never really did that. And so now I know that when someone doesn't really treat me right, I back up. I say, well, wait a minute, this isn't for me. And I've done it not only in my personal life, but in my business life too. There's many times that I've backed up from people when I felt they didn't have my best interests in heart. When I have their best interests and they don't have mine, that we separate, you know. And I think that that's very, very important, because I tell you what, I will always have your back, and you better always have mine. And that's the way life should be, right? That's the way we should all play our cards. We should all walk down that path together. So I think that that's very, very important. But here's the thing: when you take this trip, right? When you take this trip and you start connecting with people and doing things like that, you need to become your own best friend. You know, you need to start understanding yourself and becoming your own best friend. But this also talks about taking a long weekend with your friends, enjoying yourself with other people. We do have the Going Solo Travelers. We do have also a group that gets together and goes away for the weekend. I tell you, my schedule has been so busy lately, I have not been able to really do much of that. But I'm hoping that as we progress and we can start getting things worked out, because we're getting our websites all worked out and things like that, we can start doing some traveling together. But take a trip with your best friend. Reconnect with your friends. Take a long weekend trip to visit your hometown or visit new cities with your friends. Hit on the beach, you know, just enjoy life a little bit. Start doing some of the things that you love doing, but do it with your best friend. The thing is that you can let your hair down. You can talk about what you want to talk about. You can drink a little bit if you want to do, you know, you can just really unwind. And that's so often we don't do. We don't allow ourselves to really be able to unwind with ourselves. This article also said spend a weekend with a married couple. Whoa, how about that? So when we start fantasizing about relationships, well, that's what I thought when I first started doing it. It's like, okay, so when we start fantasizing, oh, we want this wonderful relationship, so we go and spend a weekend with a married couple, we'll realize, listen, you know, the honeymoon doesn't last forever. But the reality is that you do want to keep those relationships, you know, that are important to you, your married couple relationships, because, you know, you don't want to lose friends. You really, truly don't want to lose friends. And, you know, it's understanding that commitment is important, and you want to not only be there yourself someday. You want to be able to step into a new life for yourself, because I don't want you guys to always be single forever. What I'm hoping is that you raise your vibration up high enough. When you're ready, that person's going to step into your world, and you can be able to continue down the path together and have a committed relationship. So you want to keep those relationships that you know, that you have that are couples. You want to keep those together, because you want to honor and cherish those, and you want to be able to understand what they are. This one said, is travel a foreign country? You know, I traveled a lot when I was married, and I got a total appreciation of what the United States is like. I traveled to places like Africa, not some of the, you know, glorified places that you would go to, but I've been some of the, you know, the really poor areas. And it gives you an appreciation of what we have here, the freedoms that we have here, what we're allowed and able to do for ourselves. So, you know, maybe we need to do a checkup, right? If we think that we don't have it good, well, there's somebody out there that always has it worse. So I thought that was really good. Be picky, don't fall too fast. When you're moving into possibly another relationship, you definitely want to be picky. And I don't know if it's really about being picky, but I think it's about really understanding what is important to you, because you want a long-term relationship, right? You want to really connect and unite with someone. And so you want to know what it is that's important to you. And so that when you find that, and if you're compatible, you'll be able to move forward into another relationship. You don't want to jump into it. You don't want to move too fast, but you want it to slowly progress as comfortable as you want it to be. And it shouldn't, even though relationships are work, I won't say that they're not work, because I do think they are somewhat of a chore. And that's simply because opposites attract, right? You usually are attracted to someone that has a different skill set than you. They have something different about them. And that's why you kind of you're attracted to them. So they have something stronger about them that maybe you might have a weaker part in your life. But the reality is that, you know, they're different from you. And so that's going to create a little bit of friction along the way. And so there's going to be some maybe compromise, there's going to be some adjustments, there's going to be some things like that. So if you go so quickly into a relationship, you're not going to be able to move through and make those adjustments when you need to make them. The other thing is when you move a little slower, what happens is when you're making those adjustments, when you see the other party won't make them, when they won't make the adjustment that's important to you, if you've said, listen, this is the deal breaker for me, this is something that's important to me, and they won't do it, it won't because they don't want to change, right? Then they're not the right person for you. Because it's not about changing the other person. It's about compromising. When you love someone or when you create a relationship with someone and you're starting to love them, you don't think about having to change for them. You think about what you're going to be doing to make them happy, right? And so that's the thing. And so you want to be able to move slowly so that you can understand that a little bit more. Again, we want to talk about finding yourself, right? We want to talk about, the easiest path to being happy, healthy, having a relationship, understanding what makes you happy, what makes you tick, right? We want to understand our goals in life, our ambitions. We want to write down those priorities. We want to make sure that our relationship grows towards and allows us the opportunity to be ourselves. And I think that's the whole thing. And so as you're continuing to grow within, you want to write these things down. You want to, because your priorities are going to maybe shift a little bit, but maybe as you can continue your path along the way, you're going to find them. What I thought was important maybe 10 years ago is not anywhere near as important as maybe what I think today. You know what I mean? Because I'm at a different place in my life. I found what makes me really happy. I found the joy. I found the connection of others. And I found certain things that make me who I am. And so the things that I thought were so valuable, so important 10 years ago, they're totally not. And so this is why I think sometimes our journey, we need to actually take it slowly. We need to understand it a little bit more as we're moving through. Allow ourselves that time to be able to understand. I love this one, reconnect with old friends. I've definitely done that. I've reconnected with my high school buddies. Wonderful, beautiful people. I mean, and as they've continued to grow in their lives, they're becoming even more awesome, And so I think that's very important because when we've lost a relationship, when we've been hurt, and we allow ourselves to truly feel the pain of the loss of someone, connecting with old friends, connecting with those that played an important part of our lives, really does give us a connection, a feeling, doesn't it? It allows us to know that we do still have a place in this world. And that's where I think connecting with singles is so valuable. So often people say to me, well, why do you want to do this? Why do you want to have the singles all connect and blah, blah, blah. They need to be thinking about getting couples and getting married and all this. But the thing is, how can they be a good, soulful person if they haven't connected with themselves, and when they connect, they become solid. And so what I have found as singles are moving forward in their life, if they connect with other singles along that journey, along that path, ones that can understand and get who they are, understand, the ups and downs that they feel in life, they're able to kind of make a family of their own. The divorce support group has been going on for many years now, connected in we call ourselves D-Land. We're like a family, right? And we connect on Facebook and we talk and we try to connect with others, and we like to see how they're growing and what they're doing and how their family and their kids have grown up and things like that. And it's amazing to see. But the reality is that in that space of time when there was nobody around, those singles were able to connect and be able to bond together to understand who they are becoming to. So the reality is all those negative things that they were feeling or had been experiencing, those things they drifted away, right? Because they were able to step into who they are becoming. So the other one is get in shape. And I like this one, not simply because it talks about, of course, getting in shape physically. We all need to get in shape physically. I don't know. I think like everything we ever hear is get in shape, right? Lose weight, get in shape, be healthy, all this kind of stuff. But what about yourself mentally? What about yourself wholly? What about your emotional side of it? What about all of that? No one talks about that connecting of your soul, connecting of your spirit. You don't hear that. Only those that have traveled through darkness in their lives, those who have understanding that motivation, inspiration is important, those who have traveled that deep part that knows soulful, how important soulful connection is. They're the ones that you hear out there. There's the ones that are the motivational speakers that you listen to. They're the ones that are, connecting and all of this kind of thing. Their voices are being heard. And why? Because why are you hearing them? You're hearing them because you have a need to hear them. That's why. And for instance, this radio show is built on that. It's built on creating that bond that we have as being singles, but it's also built on creating that, I don't know if I can find the right words for it, but connecting that core that you have that allows you to be able to get your core in shape. So I'm sorry, these lights are like bothering my eyes tonight, but it's allowing you to get into the depth of who you are to be able to build. And so when I talk about getting in shape, I'm not always talking about getting physically in shape, because we can always get physically in shape. But what I'm talking about is getting your core in shape, getting the depth of who you are, understanding what's important to you, radiating that to other people, connecting with other people and helping them along, understanding your educating your mind, allowing yourself to grow out beyond, learning more about yourself. Like, for instance, we have, and I've told you this before in several shows, but we've had those that have touched on the arts, creativeness, opening that door to being creative. So it's getting yourself in shape. So not just physically, but mentally and soulfully. I think that's probably the word I'm trying to reach, is that soulful connection that you have of yourself. And then not only getting in shape, but also allowing yourself to express that. Because so often we keep that from within, and we keep it like a little secret, right? And we don't share that with other people. And so we need to share it with people, because that's what connects us, right? We don't connect in a negative form. We connect in a positive form. So those that are experiencing things like that have a soulful connection, it lasts forever. That's what creates families, right? A soulful connection. How is it that two individuals can be from different parents or whatever, and they can connect and be lifelong friends, like they're brothers and sisters forever? It's because they have that soulful connection. So I'm sorry, but I'm like maybe my sinuses or something about me. So that I think is very, very important. Actively meet new people. Get off the damn sofa, okay? I'm the worst case for this because I'm busy working. So then I want to sit back and I want to relax, and sometimes I don't go out and do things that I should do. And I'm not talking about going out to work venues. I'm talking about getting off the sofa and just meeting people and enjoying people and loving people for who they are and being active. And I think that you have to do that, because when you become engaged with someone else, when you talk to them and you become engaged, you start creating this world around you, right? You don't feel so isolated. And so it's so easy to stay home and maybe get on the computer and pretend like you're going to date, right? Because you're talking to people. How many times have you been on a dating site and someone just, I'm so sorry, but my eye is just watering, but you're on a dating site and all you do is you get these messages, but they don't do anything, right? They don't do anything. Why? Because they won't go the next step. They won't step out of their comfort zone, right? And so that's what we have to do. We have to actively meet people, step out of our comfort zone, and really just embrace life. I've said this in the past to people. You've got to step into the life you want to live, right? So you have to step into that life. If you want something different for yourself, if you want to go out and meet someone else, you got to step into it. You got to go to places where they're at. You have to, embrace them. Even when you go there, let's say, for instance, you go someplace and there's a bunch of singles around, you got to talk to them. You can't just be a wallflower. So you got to step into it. So you got to have to actively meet people. So you want to tell yourself that you're going to actively do that. And you can do it in so many different ways. If you go into any office, you can talk to people. If you go into a store, you can talk to someone in the checkout. You can talk, in the gym, you can go, there's just no pressure at all. But when you start casually talking to people, what will happen is you'll do one after another. It becomes easier for you. So start with a stranger. Start, in the line at the checkout and just say, oh, what a nice day today, or whatever. Just start chatting. And you'd be surprised, people will chat back to you, and the more comfortable you become with doing that. And so I think that, and then when you go to where you meet, you're in an environment where you truly want to meet someone, it's going to be a little bit easier for you. You're going to be able to do that. Then the last thing was enjoy it. Gosh, enjoy being single. Enjoy not having necessarily the pressures of another relationship, someone that you have to be accountable to. Enjoy the life that you have right now. Embrace the life that you have. I think that's what's so valuable for us. We don't always see that we have to embrace the life that we have. So this was a lot of information. I hope I didn't go too fast, because sometimes I get very, very emotional on it. But I do want you guys to know that you can contact me on goingsolonetwork@gmail.com anytime. We're going to be doing some other new shows that are out. We've got Living Your Purpose Ministries. She's doing a show. Divana is doing a show, which was on earlier today at 3 p.m. She does her show every day, every Thursday. And then we have Going Solo Veterans, which is every other day. Boy and Girl is coming back. I have Barry Shelby. He's going to be one of our guests on the show. So I'm excited about that, bringing him back. I know that a couple of our past co-hosts they said they would come back and do a show, so I'd love that. So we're going to do that. We're going to have a brand new show called Date the Right One. That's going to be kicking off. I'm going to be doing a new show, which is going to be pretty awesome. It is going to have music, and kicking that off next week. It's a 2-hour show, which I've never done a 2-hour show, so that'll be new for me. But what I'm going to be doing is answering emails that I've received, and we're going to be talking about some of those and sharing some music along the way. So we're going to kick it off with, and I'm on another station. So as long as everything goes well on the programming of that station, we have to set up all the programming for that. But as long as that all goes, we're going to hopefully kick it off next Wednesday. So it's a 2-hour show from 6 to 8. So I hope you will join me, and it's going to be right here on Facebook. Where on Facebook, I don't know yet. I don't know how we're going to connect it all, but we'll figure that out. But here's the thing. And I want to leave you with this today. The most important thing I feel is that we have to connect with other people. And the reason that we have to do that is because it's too lonely, really, to be just totally by ourselves. And if we're totally by ourselves, we're not going to learn anything from someone else, right? We're not going to be able to open ourselves to other experiences, other personalities, just other stuff, right? We're just not able to do that. So it's very, very important for us to be able to connect with others, to be able to share with others how we're feeling. We want to be able to just get down deep into who we are, understanding our core values, being able to address, the joys that are in our lives, being able to keep that negative voice out of our ear, and be able to really step into the life that we want. We want to participate in the life that we want. And I think that if we know what we want, maybe just jot it down, write a few things down that you would like to see happen to you maybe in the next 3 months. Just write down a couple things. Say, listen, I want to accomplish these things in the next 3 months. Maybe not make them huge, make them something that you can achieve, and then work on achieving those things. And if communication is one of those, then start communicating. Getting out of the sofa, getting off the sofa, doing some things, check out what we're doing. We're constantly doing stuff. We are having a singles business meetup on Friday night. So I hope that anybody out there that's single in business, and single in business doesn't mean that you're actually single. It means that you're single-minded in business, meaning that you have to make decisions yourself on your business. You have to be able to move forward in your life on creating, the dream that you want in your business. And so that's why I thought it would be nice for us to be able to connect, because it would just be nice to be able to embrace other people and help them along the way. And I'm a true believer in connection. So what I don't know, I certainly can share with you other people that have helped me along the way, and give you a heads up on that. But it's really connecting with those that feel that they have a need, that they want to connect with others so that we can move together in a very positive way. So that's what I think is very important. So if you want to create a shift in your life, okay, if you say to yourself, wherever I'm at now, I want to create a shift. I want to create an absolute shift in my life. Then what I'm sharing with you tonight is I want you to connect with someone else. That's all you have to do. Connect with someone else to create a shift in your life. So you can go on LinkedIn. If you're looking for business, you can go on Facebook, your friends on Facebook. You can go to people that you know. You can, if you want to date, you want to decide you want to date, go to Date the Right One and sign up. But if you decide you want to date, then join our singles community. We take you through the transition of dating. We take you through that. The thing is like, I should do a whole show on this, on the transition of dating, because that is huge. When you come from a relationship loss, you're rebuilding yourself, right? You're rebuilding yourself to who you want to step into, the who you want to become when you're going through relationship loss. And I know that you've got, the divorce, and you have all of those kind of, mechanics that you have to deal with. But when you're actually thinking about yourself, and you're wanting to take that step forward, you're taking that transition step, right? And so when you decide, okay, I've gone through that, and now I think I'm kind of there. I think I'm where I need to be. I'm understanding myself. I'm being able to move forward. I have joy in my life. I understand what makes me happy. I know the importance of things that are needed in my life, and not only needed, but what I want to give to somebody else. That's when it's time for you to start making that transition into dating, right? Transition into having somebody else in your life when you're ready to start embracing somebody else in your life, not because of what you need, but because of what you're ready to give to them. And so often when I'm approaching singles that are dating, and they're saying to myself, well, it's not working out. This person's crazy. This and that. Well, the reason a lot of this is happening is because they're looking for someone to create something in their life. They're not looking for someone that they can give something to, right? And so often relationships falter because the parties aren't giving to each other. So if we can create this giving environment where we're going to love someone and give to them, and they equally are going to do the same for us, then we're at least at some sort of starting point. Relationships are all about growth and exchange and communication and learning, and it's just a tremendous amount of stuff. But it's that transition thing. So the whole thing is in order to make that happen for you, it's all really about the connection of others. And so that's why connecting with other like-minded singles is valuable to your growth. of being a single, to be able to move forward into what you want to be and who you want to connect with and the life that you want to live. So I hope that you will connect with me, and my email again is goingsolonetwork@gmail.com, goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. And I am here every Thursday night, same time, same place. I start at 7, unless we move it a little bit because we're adjusting some new shows. We've got a lot more shows that are coming up. We've got some new hosts that are going to be coming on board with us. They're trying to work out their schedules, so I can't wait for that to happen. It's going to be an explosion for this year for us. So 2019 is going to be a huge, huge explosion for the singles community. And I think it's not because of the, it's not, the number of singles is tremendous. I mean, they're saying like now half the baby boomers are now becoming single. It's not because of the numbers of the individuals of the singles. It's because of the mindset. We're creating this wave, this change of mindset for singles, and it's creating deep and understanding of those that are around you. And I think it's going to be pretty cool as we progress and we make some really great lifelong friends. So I'm really glad that we're here for you, and I hope that you will join us. And all you have to do is go into GoingSoloNetwork.com. Everything is there. And then our radio station is GoingSoloMedia.com. And if you want to email me again, it's GoingSoloNetwork@gmail.com. Pretty easy. I'm all over Facebook, so you can find me. All you do is send me a message. I love you guys, and this is Going Solo with Cece. I will see you next week with another great topic. So I am glad that you were able to join us tonight. And it's going to be a good ride we're going to go on. So not a roller coaster ride, but it's going to be a good ride. So I love you. Bye, Solomon. Talk to you later. Bye.